Appreciate your time, Frank. This gentleman has done wonders for sim racing, the real world racers that come into sim racing or go back and forth. Frank's responsible to get some guys out on track. So without further ado, Mr. Frank Swartz, Grass Paddock Motorsports, tell us what you do.
What do we call this thing? Racing Line. I'm all out of sync. We got more people to deal with this week than what I'm used to. So thanks to my co-host Jason for joining us. Adam's back this week, and as you can see, we got a fourth sitting here. Megan Oversheet is already joining us to help us do some reviews and stuff. So thank you, Megan.
Let's go, Megan.
And help us. Good evening, Greg.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey, we're just getting ready to review the spec racers, and since we had an announcer in the waiting room, we thought we'd go ahead and bring you in.
Well, thank you very much.
There he is.
Hey, we got him.
Hey, Jason, we got you this time.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for having me.
We won't talk about the other.
Our special guest for the evening, Mr. Dave Ogburn, and for Dave to introduce you to these two knuckleheads, you got.
Great to see you, Thor. Welcome to the fourth chair and the podcast this week.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It feels surreal, like finally being able to talk to you guys. You know, I've been in this league for like what 2-3 years, and finally face to face.
Yes, our first guest.
Jeff.
You're on the spot now, Jeff. Oh. So, welcome, Mr. Jeff Jacobson. Again. Great to have you here. Thanks for taking some time out to join us. We get to some fun part. That's why you're here, Jerry. This is our guest segment after the reviews. So thanks for sitting through with us. And
that was fun.
And
thanks.
Yeah, it's some good racing. So, well, first of all, we gotta say thank you to Trenton for taking time to come join us. He's one of the hardest working guys I know, and you can look there in the shop behind him and get an idea of what he does. So, as everybody sees, we've got Darren Ganji, and if you didn't know already, he is Mr. Sim Motion, where you can get all your sim rigs and equipment and everything. He's also the sponsor of that league we were just talking about.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Sean Ambrose, we go back forever, back to the very early beginning days of the Weekend Warriors, when it was broadcasted on another broadcast, GSRC, I don't mind saying it. Very good to us, and Sean was one of the producers, announcers, always great to talk with.
So, Mr. Edgar Sancinelli, Weekend Warrior, Frito Sport Racing. I don't know what all you do, but great to have you join us tonight, Edgar.
Yes.
I'm not saying shit. Oh, see, I literally. Whatever,
Yep,
I give up.
there you go.
I know you've had a mute for me. So,
Oh, for sure. Yeah, when you
yeah.
it's for the views when Adam and you are there. I mean, it's
Yeah, it's
jeez.
Oh yeah.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 35, or corrected to 34, as I was told. I screwed up.
Or 340, as Eric wants to say.
Yeah, 340. Who knows? Yeah, we're live on the racing line. So good to see everybody already in the chat. Tam's already here. Erik Luke taking time out tonight to join us. Really appreciate that, sir. All you've done. We'll definitely get into all that later. Mr. Adam Thompson, Daddy himself.
Oh,
Good to
yes.
see you, bud.
Yes.
Yeah, you been busy this weekend with the baby?
No, it's starting. Maybe I'm just getting used to parenthood or something. Maybe it's at least getting easier for me. Maybe not for Sarah. Sarah calls herself the walking restaurant. So obviously they've got other issues that they got to deal with there. But everything's good on this end. We've got babies sleeping mostly through the night, so we're doing well. Doing well.
Pretty early.
I know.
Good for you guys.
Yep.
Now you have the commentator's curse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. You're right.
Yeah, look out tonight.
Exactly.
All right. Well, JG2 graced us this week and gave us some highlights to go through, so we will kick that off.
Absolutely. Obviously, without JG here, this is going to be the first time, at least for me, watching all three of these races. Maybe for you too, Stevie. So it's let's have a.
Yep, I was out of town this week. I got a few pictures. We can talk about that after we get through the highlights.
Hey, speaking of the devil.
Yeah, look at that.
To see who can grab that checkered
Formula
flag
V's at.
come on. And the drivers are on their way.
Oh my God, what is this track? I know this track. Lebanon. It's right there. Yeah. This track is difficult, to say the least. I remember it's definitely more of a driver's track than anything else.
Yeah.
Is there anything Jason's not fast in?
No. In the Weekend Warriors, no. He's pretty damn quick, and even when he was running XSLR with us, he was quick and everything over there too. So, yeah, I got it. Oh, speaking of Jason, he's wide there. Final corner, man. This was the race last year that him and Tor got together. Actually,
that's right here in the final corner.
Yeah, it is so tough to get woed up in time to get around that corner.
It is still a real tough track to try
and in the V's, you lose a little momentum. You lose a lot of momentum.
Exactly.
As of late, he had a terrible exit coming out of the final corner. I think he's picked up a slowdown as he's dropping down like a rock. Currently running in 6th.
Guido got out there.
Yeah, Guido's doing really well.
That's going to be Morzuki gang that moved on to slip his way up into 3rd.
What we were talking about on the run-up
Nick
is true, that people are
Coliseum.
kind of starting to come.
Oh, that's dangerous. That's dangerous. That's dangerous. That ain't gonna work. That worked. They saved it. Holy crap!
From Coliseum getting stuck in the middle in the sandwich.
Wow.
Looks like we've had a bit of a shake-up near the front here. Tortolo definitely getting
place your
attacked
bets,
by Felix
gentlemen,
Samoas,
Jim
now
says.
in 3rd place. So I'm not exactly sure what happened there. We'll have to try to catch up to that.
Spread out, it was about 7/10 of a second between all the drivers in the top 3.
Yeah, that was a good
side by side. That was nearly a collision between
the V's. Never disappoints
of cars
in racing. It's just always so close, so competitive.
Yeah, this is a small little pack that we've
Look at
got
that
all throughout the field.
Oh my goodness!
At the front of the field, it is pure.
And this is halfway through the race,
with some 3-wide action. That's going to be some close stuff.
Yeah, there's something to be said about low power racing, but the good part is it makes for a great broadcast. The bad part is you're never getting away, so it's always going to be close. You're always going to have a chance to get into an incident.
Up a little bit between those drivers in P1 and P2 and the drivers right behind. They're still side by side, Samoas and Green.
Now the one thing that's happening here is they've got to, with Tor in the front here, Tor can pull. Tor has a really good ability to be faster than everybody else in these all the time. So he could pull Samuel away. So you see all these drivers back here battling. Just kidding.
That would be the shocker of all shockers.
I don't know if you're familiar, Eric. Tor races Formula V's real world over in the UK and Japan.
Weekend Warriors.
Oh,
Looking
that's
to go
awesome.
for 3 straight.
Yeah,
if
he's
he
pretty
can
fast in
really
these
fight
two.
for it. That's Felix Samoas and
Oh,
Samuel
3
Perrin
wide.
But here comes Jason Green on the inside. Again, the swap-a-roo done. Heading down, coming out of turn number.
And if there's a photo finish,
instance here, but
it's going to be Tor.
Pretty racy at the front here.
Yeah.
The top 9 or 10 cars here are just
one way or another.
Oh, a little bit of contact there from Parent. That was a close one.
Yeah, that was Parent and
Samuel
Tolo coming
Parent,
up blows. That's
he's
going
a
to check out
pretty
Parent a
new
little
one.
bit heading down.
He is. I've seen him around. When he's been racing, he seems to be right up there with everybody.
Done down into the hairpin at turn number 9, gets it done successfully. We have to think about how some of these races at Lebanon in the past have ended. 2 seasons
Felix
ago, it was
has gone over and ran these in the Formula Fords this season to expand his, and just like the SRFs, he's up front.
Yeah, Jim says, note the top 7 right now.
Rodriguez winning after Tortolo and Jason
Down
Green
through
beat the blows.
Ethan.
So
2, 3,
will we
4,
go
5,
3
6,
for
7.
3? I don't think we will, just because of the fact that Jesus Rodriguez is about 5 seconds back of these racers. But I still think we're going to see something break here at the front of the field. With the amount of pressure going on, it's like grabbing a rubber band and stretching
Oh, my goodness.
Eventually something will snap.
That's
these
close.
drivers are still getting so close to each other.
Yeah,
We're
that was definitely cutting some
21,
shapes
22
all
minutes
over
in.
the place there
Yep.
for Samuel Parent, and also in front here, Felix Samoas.
You necessarily risk it if you were Jason Green here, Josh.
I mean, it's got to
Yeah,
be tough
that's
to
a
make
really good
highlights
point to raise, you know,
for
things
all
are
of this
getting-
stuff. It's
we got a touch from
crazy.
Tor, and a big wiggle from
Okay.
Samoas. He's able to hold it together.
Uh-oh.
That was some driven right there from everyone involved. That they were able to sort that out.
Jeez.
Felix with a big touch from Tor, and then a wiggle, and then we had I believe it was Parent just doing the mega avoidance there to avoid everything. But great point you raised there, yes.
Now we
You
got
know,
Felix
now that
and
things have changed a
Jason.
little bit. We definitely have Jason Green up the inside, and he's going for it. Got to keep this car, all 4 on the ground and driving forward.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I will say Felix Samoas actually overshot heading down to turn 14. Very similar to how Jason Green lost the lead at the end of the first lap. He regains it at the end of lap 15.
Hey there, Michelle.
Only
Jinx.
about 5.5 minutes left to go in this race, and side-by-side racing down into turn 5. Felix Samoas looking to fight back on that inside line, and contact being
there
made.
it is.
That's
There it
himself
goes.
and Tortolo coming to blows, coming out of the hairpin at turn 5. If either of those drivers could have done anything different, just hard racing, but unfortunately,
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look carefully here, I believe maybe we'll go at Chopper again. If you look, Samuel Perrin actually had a little bit to do with this. So he touched the rear tire of Tor and actually turned him into Felix. So
the same as it would for a Spec 1 or Spec 2 driver, and that would be a very good points haul for the driver of the 927 car. And
we had another one right there.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
4 cars stacked up. Chris Montgomery.
There goes Jim.
Guido,
got a piece of that action
Felix,
as well.
Tor.
yeah, it looks like I'm not exactly sure how it kicked off. I just saw Montgomery sideways. It looks like
man.
Samuel Parent
Tried to get off of
and
him.
then just
Yep.
more than anybody could do
And there's
behind
the
him,
4 hooked
unfortunately.
together.
3 separate cars at once, so I'm not entirely sure if this is broadcastable. It feels like something you'd see in a Nat Geo documentary more than anything else. As they head their way into turn 11, there's Montgomery
Nowhere to
spinning,
go.
and
That sucks.
oh God, we nearly just saw
off the front
Guido
tires.
Marzuki's
Yep.
pores there. You can see that very
And
bizarre.
they got
That
hooked
is
up.
just
And
goofiness. On
Barrel
Alan
of
Degas is
monkeys.
going to finish in P2. A mighty result
Alan
for
come
the master
through.
driver, and here is the 4th win in Spec 2 for Michelle.
Yeah,
Lynn, finishing
great
in
job,
6th.
Michelle. My
We talked
goodness.
about
Of
how
course.
the
No
Spec 2
wonder why
drivers
she's
were a little
watching this
farther back
podcast tonight.
than
She
they
won.
had been in rounds past, but that's a P6 result at the end of it all for Michelle Lynn, who I'm sure will not turn that points haul down one bit. And then you
yeah,
can see
Alan
here they
Degas
come
has got
again,
a second out of
and
that.
up
Oh, look at
goes
the.
Green,
Here we go.
up goes Terry, up
There we
goes
go.
Marzuki, and into the wall they go.
Beautiful.
Just plowed the pillar on number 7 there. Oh, he gets the kick flip. Nice 360 flip there from, I'm not sure who that may be, John
Take
Toms
things you
there.
can
That was a
do
good one.
not in real life for 100,
All
please.
kinds
Yeah.
of carnage here.
Skater 2,
Yep.
Formula V edition.
Yeah, exactly. We need to get like a score thing here. Scoring points for how many flips you can do and land back on your wheels. But
All right, and we got some results as well. So congrats to Jason Green, man. Unbelievable win. Stayed out of trouble. Got the win by 2 seconds even. From Alan DeGasis. Great job, Masters driver there in P2. Looking down through the order, Jesus Rodriguez, great job at rounding out the overall podium. But Michelle Lynn down there, Spec 2, she got it. And we're going to go to points here soon. She's starting to walk away a little bit there in Spec 2. So great job to Michelle and everybody else. Jason, Alan DeGasis, everybody really in that top 10 for avoiding that 4-car pileup going into turn 1 was impressive.
Yeah, Jason Green made his move at the right time and got ahead of where that incident happened.
Mm-hmm.
Good job for him.
All right, on to the Formula Fords now.
Ian Joyner leading us to green. The green flag is out, and the drivers are on their way. And as they gun it and spread out all throughout this field, it's Joyner going to hold on to a clean lead. Some drivers going already a little bit farther in the back. Are you kidding me? 3 wide for the final podium spot. These drivers clearly do not fear death. And let's see how they make their way up through turn number 2 into 3. It's clean for
Ian
now.
checking out already.
For now, looking through this
and we did have
field,
Kane Halliburton, who's a coach with Almeida. He started in the back.
Oh, wow.
Going to be super vital, but if you run a little bit wide, you're going to be in for a world of hurt. As we see, that's Michael McConnell running off into the dirt, coming out of turn number 3 onto this back flat out last lap. It's not straight at all. You are turning all through there.
I mean, Ian is just, God, he's fit quick, man. It's crazy how fast this guy is in these cars. Uh-oh.
Oop, there's a spinner right there. That is
Witzak,
I think. It's Witzak.
There goes Wilkie. Oh, no. It gets worse. It's like a train wreck.
In the middle of the track, nowhere for these people to go as they're coming over the crest of that hill, hitting the replay button and finding the start of the calamity. And you see
just caught the grass there on the left side.
And then put him in the middle, and
right
people
back
had
in the middle of
nowhere
the
to
track,
go,
and he's just become a pinball at that point. It's just nowhere for these guys to go.
Man, that sucks.
It's fine.
It's fine.
No worries. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Antonio. Recovery's pretty good. Not hurting as much. Surgery as I did last.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And it's really fun to watch. It's very NASCAR-like the way he attacks the exit of that big high bank. Whoa.
Around the outside.
That was Greg Hubler in the 099 car coming to blows as Soren Garrett's and that start finish straight away off into turn number 1. They're still side by side.
Yeah, good to see Greg.
And all of that going to get that move done.
Orange and black car.
Absolutely.
He's the marketing manager for
It's one where it takes you quite a while to really get up to 100%.
He worked with me with the SCCA league back in the day, so
Here's
good
a
to see him
from
back
Daniel
on track.
Tuff saying down that start finish straight away off into turn number 1, looking to get the move done on Ian Joyner to take the race lead around the outside through the first corner. The number 34 car dipping 2 wheels off into the dirt on corner exit.
Yeah, that was
tough. Down into turn number 2. Joyner got to lick the
Not
step
often
and get the move
Ian
done
Joyner
on
has had a battle.
side between Tufts and Joyner. Tufts having a whole head of speed hang down that start finish straight away. Got to try and take the lead, but Joyner deep into the braking zone through turn number 1 to get back alongside Tufts.
Mikey Pollard is another new guy.
Line, and let's see how it's going to shake out for
Almeida
him. He
Academy.
was so close in his challenge earlier on, but wasn't able to get the move done on Joyner.
Oh God, dude, that I technically turn 3 is Zandvoort is always.
Pollard in the 9 car slipping by to try and
what a move!
Dang that! Some of the pit times that we've seen, lots of different drivers having their own sorts of calls there. As at the front of the field, Pollard trying to get a move done on Joyner around the outside down into turn number 1. Joyner has played that defensive line to absolute perfection, but I feel like it may be a bit too much to bite here with Pollard around the outside.
Yeah,
stuck
put
on
him
the
in the
outside.
wrong spot.
Got hung out
Yep.
to dry. Daniel Tuff
slide back
get that move done
and
back, and you can
jump
see
back in.
Pollard on that inside line. It is a bowl heading off through turn number 3 on that inside line. There is no banking, and when you hit that, you basically slide to the outsides.
With Sargent running in P7,
Ian had his hands full there.
Four-car battle here between himself and Rodemaker, Hendricks, and Reese.
Yeah, I mean, this is
back half of
crazy.
This group, that just jumped into the pits there. Is that Reese that jumped in?
That is.
Ooh, that was a very that's why when you say attack the pits, that's how you attack the pits.
Words of wisdom from Charles Rochelle there.
carried as much
Yeah.
speed as he had managed to muster.
If you look on the chart, Kane Halliburton's already up to 19.
Oh,
no.
Kane Lasky and Edward Buchanan, I believe, have come to blows heading off into turn number 2. And Lasky gonna spin around yet again.
Still
That's
had
gonna
hot
bring
tires.
some gravel into
Yep.
turn number 3. Let's take a look at here, side by side, down into the corner, and he got hit big time.
Oof.
Yeah, just miscommunication there between the cars. Here we go.
Rather
We'll find out now.
shocking time down pit lane as here come the
All three of
front
them.
three.
Jeez.
Daniel Tubbs coming in with a whole head of steam, and probably about 3 or 4 laps left for these competitors. Ian Joyner is in the catbird seat to get a move done. It's about 0.2 of a second coming out of turn 13 through the high banks to turn 14,
And
the
the
final
pit
corner
is where
around this lap.
Mikey
And
Pollard
let's see if Daniel
dropped
Tubbs
back
got
a
a
little
good enough
bit.
exit.
Yep.
He did
There's
not.
Kane all the way up into
That
4th
is
place.
Joyner pulling alongside. Tuff's gonna hold on to that inside line, but Joyner with a whole head of speed on the outside line. Let's see, battle less late breakers down into turn number 1. Joyner.
Like I said,
looking to
how
put
often have
on
you
a
seen
move
Ian
that
have a
Tuffs
battle?
tried to
No,
win
this is
earlier
with
on.
Daniel
Let's see if
Tufts
that
too. I mean,
is gonna be
Daniel's always been
Daniel
quick,
Tubbs
but this
in
is
front,
impressive to
side
see
by
him
side still into
battling
turn
E.
number 2.
Wow.
Close contact being made
Banging
and
wheels.
close to top speed. That could have ended in tears between those competitors. Heading through the high banks, and let's see how this is going to work out for Tufts and Joyner. Joyner deciding to stake claim on that inside line. He's tired. He's seen enough of those moves around the outside. Driver's going for it on him. He's now going for it down the inside. Down the inside into turn number 1 goes Joyner, and he's going to get that move done. Ian Joyner had to come back from a slightly slow stop. Joyner going to win his second race
Great
in a row,
job.
second win of the season.
One as well.
He had to work
kept,
for that
kept
one.
Joyner
Yes.
honest the entire race.
Alan DeGasis again, winning Masters.
Yeah.
Burn it down at the end of this.
We do have to shout out somebody here. There's a guy that's not in these race results right now, but Jason Greider ended up P2 in Spec 2. So Jason goes, I'm just here for the Formula Ford Spec 2. So probably down there we'll see some, they're probably not going to scroll, but congrats to Jason on your P2 and Spec 2, buddy. But yeah, Ian Joyner takes the win in the Spec 1 class. Got to go all the way down to 14th place overall to find Alan DeGasis, who wins in the Masters, and Jiyoon Chin. That's a newer driver too that we haven't really talked about that much. Up in 15th place overall, but wins in Spec 2.
I heard in the interview they call him Jason. So. A little easier. He said nobody could pronounce it in Chinese, so Jason's easier.
There it is. There it is. Yeah, and looking at JG1, Jason Greider said, I think that was my first podium in any Weekend Warriors race. So, yeah.
Awesome. Congrats, bud.
Congrats. That's awesome. Great job.
This field was really heavy with Spec 1 drivers.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it's got a lot of them there.
Yep.
All right, here we go, Stevie. On to the SRFs.
The pit entry comes up on you very, very quickly. That pace car driver can attest to it, but the green flag is out and the drivers are on their way. That's a good jump from Perry and a bad start from Samoas. He's going to get chewed up and spat out by the field, hang down that start finish straight away off into turn number 1. Panera, the 16 car, getting off the flyer. He will hold on to the race lead. Samoa, shocker to shockers, is actually going to remain in second with Sola Shutway on the inside. Lots of drivers lawn mowing. Kane Lasky, Adam Bradshaw, and Andrew Love, I believe, all getting a piece of that grass coming out of turn number 1.
Weird seeing this track without rain on it.
Downhill through Craner curves into the old hairpin for the first time. Then a rather smooth start. The front of the field of side-by-side racing continues, this time with Michael Odell and Joshua Wilkie.
Whoa.
That's Solo Shutway coming to
Solo
blows.
It is not a good place there. You see other cars just getting caught up in the carnage. First lap, Panero out in the lead. Perry in second.
Yeah, Jason Perry jumped up to second.
Perry
and let
jumping
Marco
up to P2.
get away.
I think it may have been an incident involving, as that's a move for Perry. That time it's heading through turn number 8 of Compass onto the back straightaway. That's going to be a tough moment for Perry. Had a very good start, but things not going to go his way. Some side-by-side racing. This is a battle for second. Shows you how broken up this field is very early on in this hectic lap 1. It's been broken up. Michael Odell now finds himself in P2, getting hounded from the back by Felix Samoas. I think Samoas may have come to blows without Shutway. we'll take a
him
look at a
and
replay
Tom
in the not too
almost
far off
avoided
future to see
Saul,
what
but
happened
lap
there.
one,
But
when it
as we are
happens that
still
so
on this
far up,
first lap, we'll stay with the live action
it's so
and
hard
follow
to
Felix
avoid
Samoa
it,
is getting a
'cause
move
there's
done
just
to
no
jump his way
distance
up to
between
second.
anybody.
Marco Panero pulling a pretty nice gap in the front of the field, and an absolute hornet's nest involving Adam Bradshaw, your current Masters leader in the 929.
Yeah, Felix Samoa is
Currently running
obviously
sixth.
quick
Has been
in
a
every
brilliant start for Bradshaw.
everything
Where
he
the
runs
drama
as well,
really
but
first
this is
started
his
to
bread and
brew.
butter here,
It
the
was clean
SRFs, I
heading
think.
through the first
Here's
4
Saul
corners,
losing it.
but coming out of it, a little bit of netcode contact potentially. I think Al-Shukri just lost it on his own there. It was just close between those two drivers, and as he merges out, Murakami smacking the back of that car.
Oh gosh!
I mean, I don't want to. The gap up to the front is now 2 seconds.
Hey, there's a driver up there in
between
7th place
Panero
right now.
And Samoa's.
Yeah,
You
look
see
at that.
Jeff Fritcher, I think that's
I know that guy.
Allen.
That too.
Oh, it's not going to last.
And this is in round 17.
It is so not
going
gonna
to These battles are continuing on, and still battling hard. We're just 6 minutes into this race, but it feels like it's been 20 already. Yeah, we have to
There's
get
a lot
a
of
replay.
action on
Just
this
saw
track,
the end of that.
and
We saw Perry sideways.
The off
and,
tracks, it
here
was
we
so
go.
tight on
We
this one.
got
There was
Luke
a
on
lot
the-
of incidents as
The
well.
last
Oh,
skill
yeah.
moving to the inside.
Oh,
Yeah, there we go. And just 2 cars trying to hit the apex from different angles.
Have that battle as best
Ooh,
as
oh.
possible, as it is a little bit of a pack forming with these drivers. Jason Green, Joao Tabino, Michael Odell, and Josh Wilkie. The dive down into the Melbourne hairpin for Joao Tabino to slip his way up into the final podium spot. It's close on
Wilkie's
corner
doing
exits.
really
Green
well
may
as
have a good
well.
exit, but Tabino has a better one.
It only takes
Matt
one mistake
Thompson
around
up,
this track,
leading.
and you're
Back
right
two
back
now
up on the
Oh,
tail
yeah.
of the car in front. So, but once again, those cars are both kind of on that borderline of track limits and needing to be much more careful.
Yeah, Michelle said she drove the last 7 minutes with 12X. Having a heart attack. I think there were several that were right at the
It's going to be a
11,
drag race
12X
down to turn number
mark.
1. Samoa's
And
getting that jump, but Panero, he's
few
going to have
went
warmer
over.
tires and a head of speed heading down into turn number 1.
I was
This
one of
is
them.
going to be a real important lap for Samoa's.
I got hit twice for 8 total laps.
Can't afford to run wide. If he
There
runs
it
wide,
went.
The
he's
nature
gonna
of
be in for a lot
Donington
trouble.
itself,
Here
if you're
comes Marco
trying to
Panero,
push
though,
the
trying to get
limits,
moved
you're
down the inside
getting off
into
track.
turn number
Yep.
3. Got stuck on the outside through 4, but Samoa's a little bit wiggly, heading down into the old hairpin.
man.
Panero trying to find any
this
way
is-
in the
if you
book
haven't
to
seen
get
this,
past
Adam,
the driver of the number 31 car. It's going
you've
to be
never
side
seen
by
this
side,
before.
heading up into 6 and 7.
These
Samoa's
guys-
on that inside line. Panero
I
holding
remember a
his own
Suzuka
on the
incident.
outside. Samoa's looking to clear
I
him.
think
He does
between
clear
these
him.
two,
A little bit damage on the front of Panero's race car. Not sure how
They
he
were-
picked that
they
up
were
with the 16
battling
machine,
hard,
but he's going
and
for
they
the
both had a
dive.
bunch
Oh,
of
that's not
incidents.
going to work, boys.
Oh,
Sideways as Marco
man.
Panero heading his way through turn number 8. Holy cow, that could have ended in tears. These drivers still banging doors, banging wheels. Scott Russell in the 22 car there to pick up the pieces if these drivers come to blows, albeit I don't believe he's coming for his pit stop yet. Samoa's holding on to the race lead, last of the breakers down
Ew.
into the chicane, but they bump again big time on corner exit. Panero, he's impatient. He held on to the lead for a vast majority of this race, and after starting
Man,
from the
that front
pole,
end damage,
he wants
too.
to grab that checkered flag as well. He's holding on to the inside line through the
Wow.
Melbourne pit. They come to blows again.
Oh, there's the
and
X
that
incident
gave-
right there.
That gave them both a black
that was
flag.
it.
Yep.
DQ.
They both got
Oh my
DQ'd.
God.
Holy
That's
cow.
crazy. That's crazy. So they were both borderline on their instance. I think they might have got 2 4Xs in that lap from the
Yeah.
contact, and both cars have been disqualified from
Oh
the race.
man.
However, there's a fight between
Yeah.
these two drivers, and Andrew Love just got
And
moved on
this
not terribly long
track,
ago to take the lead
just
in
the
Spec 2
nature of the
category.
track, the
Thompson had a bit of a
off-track
sideways
limits,
snap
and-
heading through
and
turn
the
number 8.
battling
That's
it
just going
has
to
to
allow
just-
Andrew Love to blow his doors
I think
off.
a lot of them
Looking
were
for his
at,
first win this Spec Racer Ford season.
Well, I mean,
Trying
Eric
to
said it too. I mean,
disqualify each other
he had that same
from
issue with the
when
X, the
contact, but they were
incident
just
limit here.
racing, and Panero,
Yep.
you know, had an opportunity to try and get back around, and just
Yeah,
as
Michelle
we
wins
said,
as
all
candy
those
for
points
JDQ.
count. So you
Yep.
know, if you can
Kinda got
you can
gifted.
finish P2 in your class. Ooh, it's with 3 wide.
Jeez.
Oh, that's
Oh.
barely going to work. Heading down into the Melbourne hairpin. These drivers simply do not fear death. This is a battle for the Masters lead, mind you. Jeff Fritcher taking it in all
Ron
that.
says
Chris
that
Nunez
double DQ
side by
blew
side
my
with
socks
Andre
off in the
Favini
booth.
heading down into the last corner.
Yeah.
Favini, he put on a rather rousing recovery drive. Currently up 21 spots. Here's the battle for the lead in Spec 2. It's Andrew
Yeah, look at
Love
that,
and
1-2
Matt
in Spec
Thompson.
2.
Matt Thompson, as much as he's been consistent, he wants to grab a different seed, that being the checkered checkered flag, heading down into turn number 7. Andrew Love still leading it, but he runs a little bit wide off into the grass. Will he pick up a slowdown and all of that? That was a bit of a dangerous moment for Love. Let's see how it shakes out here. Thompson within striking distance, about 1.5 tenths is a gap, heading their way onto that back straightaway for the last time.
Middle of the track.
Will it be a move to the inside or a move to the outside? Thompson looking at it, heading for the outside line, down into the chicane. It's going to be the outside for the first part, then the inside for the second, but he gets hung out to dry by Love. I think going to come the way up of Andrew Love. So close to the back of him is Matt Thompson, but just not going to be close enough at the end of this race. There's a checkered flag for Andrew Love. He finishes P5 overall and wins it in the Spec 2 category. As we look a little bit farther in the back of shot, there's Jeff Fisher winning the race in Masters, finishing 7th overall.
Race.
And what a race here, Charles. Holy cow. Aerial acrobatics here in these Spec Racer Fords.
Oh, incoming.
Oh, bang! There we go. And there goes the
engine. Yep.
The unmistakable iRacing sound of
the missiles
what just
after
sounds
the
like
end.
a giant
Oh,
tungsten block getting dropped down into an empty 55-gallon drum. Wow, okay, that's
here we go.
Paul Jackson's front clip is stuck in the fence.
Fitting into the day.
Jeez. Thankfully, these drivers are running in the sim. Otherwise, we'd probably
is this the first lap?
At some obituaries. Yeah. At the end of some sickening collisions. Josh Wilkie. And that's for me coming in.
Incoming.
That one again where I actually sound like a grown adult. That was boring. That was such a high.
Yeah, congrats, Flavio. Last 14th. Good drive.
And yeah, looking here at the points. Jason Green takes the dub. With Michael Odell in second place and João Tubino in third. Andrew Love barely pips Matt Thompson for that Spec 2 win. Unbelievable drive. Jeff Fritcher as well and Curtin Nunez. They were actually pretty close there. They were underneath a second off of each other there. So great battle there in the Masters division as well.
Yeah, good race. Had some drama, some incidents. I don't think anybody's going to miss that track for the rest of the season.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Good to see that one in a rear view.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have some things to pull up for you here real quickly. We're all back, by the way. Hey, guys. How's it going? Yeah, let's get some standings up for everybody and show everybody how everything's going this season. So right now, Jason is still pulling away a bit from Nate. I'm sure the last race helped just a little bit with that incident that Nate was involved in the Formula V's. Ethan Orr sitting in third place in S1, but fourth place overall, actually, because if you look down there at third place overall, it's Jim Brewster. So that is a great job from Jim so far this season. And Michelle Lynn, right now sitting Spec 2 win by quite a bit. That margin is getting bigger and bigger and bigger every week, especially if Michelle keeps winning Spec 2 races like she did. And Brian Hansen sitting there with 333 points in 11th place overall. But we already mentioned Jim, and he is pulling away from Kurt Nunez and Nick Tullo.
Yeah, Jim's kind of dominating the Masters class in the V's this time.
Mm-hmm. He is. But now on to the Formula Fords with Felix Samoa with 423 points. Sean Doyle with 416. And Rasmus.
Not that far.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's a battle there. That Formula Ford battle is, I think, going to come down to the wire here towards the end of the season with Rasmus Viori in third overall and third in Spec 1. Dan Witzak has blitzed him. Dan Witzak is flying in Spec 2 right now. Paul Jackson and Dustin Meadenow are tied for P2.
And part of it goes back to how many races they've done. Like Michelle Lynn says, she's only done 5 of the 6 races. So if she had done 6, she'd really be pulling away.
Right.
And that may be the case with Paul and Dustin. I can't tell you off the top of my head how many races they've done compared to Dan, but
sure,
that will come into play in the end of the season.
Yeah, Antonio Race, 16th overall, but winning in Masters beating Jeff Wupker and Jim Brewster. He's on the leaderboard twice here. So Jim is still holding on in the Formula Fords with 164 points, 24th overall. So that goes to show you 24th overall in third in Masters. So got a lot of drivers very, very close in the Formula Fords this season. Jason Green is killing it in the SRFs right now. From Mauricio Nizelli and Felix Moes, obviously the DQ this weekend probably didn't help those two for the battle for the win here, for the overall win and in Spec 1. But there's a driver there in the Spec 2 lead right now.
Yeah, look at that.
Speaking of pulling away, Eric.
And fourth overall.
Somebody's not doing math right. That's my only logical conclusion.
Yep.
I need to bust out an abacus. Something isn't right here.
Fourth overall, so great job, Spec 2.
Yeah, Matt Thompson sitting in second in Spec 2 with 309, and Leonard Geese in third, 15th overall. But Tom Gradwell here and Kurt Nunez, I want you to see 327 and 323 points right there, right, Stevie?
And
look at the separation in the and look at the separation in the overall. You've got 5th, 8th, and 7th, which is not right. But I want you to see that amount of points.
Overall, they don't take the bonus in class points.
Got it.
So
okay.
That can change the overall positions. Because, what is it? Brad has more bonus points than Kurt.
That makes sense. But still, 5th to 8th is separated overall by 5 points. That's an insane number for 4 positions.
Yep.
So yeah, great job so far this season. Looks like things are going to be tightening up towards the end. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what you guys can do there at the end. And Papa Ron in here trying to meow. He's meowing in the chat right now. So
can't do it on the audio, so we got to meow.
Exactly. But
Eric, I ran into your buddy Matt Thompson at Hallett this weekend. He came out in the morning and said hi to us and visited with me and Joshua Justice, and then he had to run home in time so he could do that race to keep at you.
It paid off.
Yeah.
So yeah, here we go, guys. It's time for your spot, Stevie.
Yeah. Speaking of Hallett, had a great time this weekend. Got to see some guys. Matt Thompson, like I mentioned. Greg Ginsburg was there. One of the guys we've had on the weekend on the Raycing Line. Great announcer. So I've got a few pictures that we can put up. Nope, not that one. There you go.
Speaking of the chicken, I got it in there.
The chicken.
Yes.
That's the Hallett chicken at the winner's circle. There's one on each side, but that's the view of the Hallett chicken. And if you haven't been to Hallett, they started a thing with the chicken dance morning song at 7 a.m. on race day over the loudspeakers to wake everybody up. They play this chicken song. And the chickens have become a big thing at Hallett. They're on the gate posts like gargoyles looking over you. They're there. I mean, everywhere you look are these damn chickens everywhere you go. So it's kind of funny. It's
that's pretty cool. It's funny too, because when you talk about racetracks, right? A lot of racetracks have their own little tradition, right? Yep. I mean, it's it's a pretty cool thing to see how all these racetracks have adopted that.
There's my son went with me. That's my older son, and this is Gary Glanger, another Dallas, Texas guy, and got to put my son in the car, and Gary showing him the ins and outs of the Spec Racer Ford, what the dash is and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty cool. And then Gary went and had there's the cockpit of the real world SRF.
That's
that little cool. That green thing is Flagtronics, and it's the electronic flag basically from on track. Anytime the track goes yellow or red, that thing flashes at the driver to let them know that there's a caution or a full course caution or whatever. So it gives them a instantaneous indication of the flag status of the course. So that was pretty cool. And then that's up in the booth. We went.
I know
up,
that
we saw
guy to the
Mr.
right.
Yeah, Greg Ginsburg, the announcer, and the guy on my right there on the left side of the screen is Tom O'Gorman, or kind of known as Tomo. And he's a professional driver, does a lot of announcing as well. He does some work with that. He does some track night in America with SCCA. He was my other half when I set up the SCCA Esports League. Me and Tom worked together to do that back in the day. So it was good to finally meet Tomo in person. So
I know that car.
you know that car.
Yes,
Yep.
I do. I've seen it on track in virtual way too many times. That is Joshua Justice there, isn't it?
That is Joshua on track coming up out of. They renamed this corner that he's coming out of. You kind of go in and braking on a curve kind of, but it dips down into the apex is at the bottom of the curve, and then you come uphill out of it. And it's called the Tully now after the original owner of Hallett, Tully Aratunov.
Mm-hmm.
But for many, many, many years, and everybody still knows it, it was called the Bitch.
Oh, okay. I got
That's
you.
coming up. Yeah, that's coming
Eric
up.
Eric got a kick out of that one.
I know a few corners like that, actually.
Yeah. You say that you wrecked in the Tully and nobody knows what you're talking about, but you tell them you wrecked in the Bitch, and everybody knows what that corner is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was our friend Joshua Justice. It was great to see him there. There's a little picture of a corner worker stand. It was at the end of a session. The corner workers kind of waving at everybody going by. Usually there's 3 guys standing there. I think this was the test day on Friday, so there was only 1 person. But if you don't have enough volunteers and workers on those corner stations all around the track, the cars don't run. So,
Right.
really important to do that.
Oh,
That's
no.
a fun way to be involved. Yeah, there's a real world spec racer with the whole side pod ripped off. And
So this is the last picture that we've got here, Stevie, that you sent me. But real quick, you sent me some pictures in Discord, and I wanted to mention it looks kind of muddy out there. It must have been getting some rain.
Oh man, Saturday after they shut the track down about 10:30 Saturday morning because of lightning in the area. And we waited it out, had lunch. They kept waiting. At about 1:30, they said, well, we'll reevaluate about 2:45. And me and my son said, yeah, I don't think it's getting better. We had enough, so we left. But it rained heavy all afternoon. Finally, late in the day, I think they got about 3 more sessions in Saturday. And then Sunday, there were 7 groups. Each group had like a 25-minute race on Saturday and a 35-minute race on Sunday.
Right.
And a lot of the groups had to race. They're both races on Sunday. So you had a 20-minute race, and you had a little different mental attitude about it, that if you wrecked your car, you may not make the main race in the afternoon. So that made a little interesting Saturday morning. But
So we're gonna have to go to a very, very quick break here, guys. I'm realizing there's something going on here with the screen. So give me 1 second and let me get this fixed, and we'll be right back. Sorry, Stevie.
All right, no problems. Break time.
Yeah, you're getting cut off here pretty bad here, so I gotta go. We're back. Sorry.
Yep. All good. All good. Now, unfortunately, they can see a little bit more of me, but
Yeah, that's okay. Hey, real quick, by the way, before we get into Erik, Erik, you're important, by the way.
we saved the best for last.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen some pictures in the chat here, or not some pictures, but some chats in the chat. We had a race, an XSLR race this weekend as well at Crandon, and I wasn't able. I tried to get video clips, but I just don't have the time to do video clips. So, first of all, shout out to all the drivers in XSLR. Crandon was an absolute blast. If you guys haven't watched that race yet, you can go to Slow Motion Broadcasting, and you can see it there. It was unbelievably fun. Battles throughout the pack, the heat races, the consolation race, the feature race, and the Pro 4 trucks. It was unbelievably fun. Now, with XSLR, Jason Greider wanted me to mention this as well. That was our last race. We are on race number 8, but that was our last Pro 4, our dirt road section of the calendar. For the next 4 races, we're going to be on the asphalt ovals and the 87 stock cars, the 87 NASCARs. So if anybody, Jason wanted me to shout it out, and I will. If anybody wants to hop in and do some racing with us in the 87 stock cars, please feel free to do so. An absolute blast I think we're going to have. We'll see. We did a practice race on last night and might get a little bit hairy, but 220
beast.
220 mile an hour race car around the asphalt ovals with brakes that are made out of paper, basically. And they're so heavy, it's insane. So first race is at Charlotte coming up in a couple weeks' time. I meant to do this before we started the podcast, but I am going to put a vote out as well and see if I can talk to the guy that runs Slow Motion Broadcasting now, Joshua Wilkie, because we have an off week this week. Next weekend is Mother's Day, so we're not running then. We might try to run on Sunday night. We can get enough participation in the Indy cars around Indianapolis for the Indy 500. So we'll see if we can make that happen. So. But yeah, huge shout out to all the drivers in XSLR for doing what they've done for the first 8 races, and let's make the next 8 really fun. The championship is super tight. I couldn't get championship points either, but that one's going to be coming down to the wire as well. So keep an eye out for that. Oh yeah, also sponsored by Ray Esports.
Yeah, I made the first couple, and then I haven't been able to since. So. All right. On to bigger and better things. Mr. Erik Luke, again, thanks for joining us tonight.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Sponsor of the last 4 SRF races, and can't tell you how much we appreciate that. But if you've seen any of our podcasts, you know what's coming. The first question I always ask everybody is, how and where did you get started in sim racing? How did that all come about?
Oh, God, now we got to go to a way back machine. You're
not that old.
With iRacing, it really kind of started about 8-9 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. But before all of that, I was real big into Forza and Gran Turismo, and I played a lot online with that, and loved the tuning aspect of it, and did a bunch of races, and was relatively successful at we'll call it the arcade race games.
Okay.
And a buddy of mine, Kenny, I met him through a motorcycle racing board, and he was like, we do iRacing, and I was like, oh, I kind of know what that is, and next thing I know, I'm out doing the stupid thing, buying a pre-built PC at Best Buy, and had a G920 in a POS play seat. No offense to play seat, and so that's how I kind of got started. And he got me into a league, and I was rookie 1500, didn't know anything about anything. And first race was at Spa in the GTE cars, and I go in thinking, I was always pretty quick in these arcade sims. And the best way that my buddy Kenny described it, he goes, "I just want to go ahead and apologize because I'm throwing you in shark-infested waters while wearing a meat tuxedo."
Yes.
And surprisingly, I do remember that race, and surprisingly, I did finish 15th in that race. But that was pretty much the start of the addiction of sim racing. I've always enjoyed motorsports and the racing aspect of it, and just the personal challenge of trying to push the limits, whether it was on a motorcycle or in a sim car. I've never had a chance to turn a wheel in anger in a race car or an automobile. But it's just the challenge aspect of it, because you can always try to go faster, and that's been the big challenge when it comes to racing and turning laps and everything that goes, all the fun that goes along with it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the brief history of me getting into sim racing. So if we're gonna blame anybody, Kenny, it's all your fault, buddy.
And that was what year that you got into iRacing?
Guys, 8-9 years ago, I think it was. And I remember, I think it was back in 2006. The reason it's Erik Luke 2 on my iRacing account is I created an account back in I think it was like 2006 or 2005. And of course, I would, coming from the arcade racers where, you could pick your view and everything else. And I get into iRacing and I'm like, what do you mean I'm stuck in the cockpit? What is this crap? I just, it was like, forget this. I'm not doing this. So that's how Erik Luke 2 in the sim came to life.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, Eric, and I public service announcement, by the way, for anybody who has 2 accounts. So I started on Steam, and then I got iRacing through iRacing because Steam just was screwing me over, with the deals and stuff you get. So when Sarah was having our child, when we were having our child, about a month ago now, God, time flies. But anyways, about a month ago, I had to get on to make sure that the session was good for XSLR because I wasn't going to be running it that night. And my iRacing membership had expired. Well, I went through and I changed a bunch of stuff with emails and passwords and all that stuff. Long story short, there's an Adam Thompson 10 and an Adam Thompson 11 out there. Adam Thompson 11 now has a renewed iRacing subscription for a year, but Adam Thompson 11 is not going to be running that iRacing subscription. It's only Adam Thompson 10. So if you guys have 2 accounts, please make sure you know which one you're actually renewing, because Adam Thompson 11 is rookies all the way across the board.
Yep. Well, that's a good number anyway. Yep. So when you started in iRacing, what was your main class? What did you enjoy most? What did you have the most success with? Obviously, it's probably what you enjoyed most, but where was that at?
Yeah, so we started in the GTEs, and that's what I was kind of running in the league, and then I went through the Miata class, just like everybody and their cousin who comes onto the service. And the league, they had multiple series going on, and I started playing around in the old Skip Barber cars, and that's an interesting story there. That's where I met my buddy Paul during one of those league races. I'm trying to remember the track, but pit entry is right before the last chicane going into the front straight, and I looked up at my mirror to make sure nobody was behind me. I was going into the pits and didn't remember that people have to brake to make the turn and, going into pit lane. And so I sent him into low Earth orbit and just apologized my butt off. And it turns out, we kind of connected after that, and we did some endurance racing, and we still do endurance racing to this day. And he comes down with another buddy of ours that we race together, Chris. They come down for for the Rolex 24 every year. I live about 25 minutes from Daytona International.
Oh wow,
So
nice.
we kind of make it an event. They come down every year. So the really big thing that I really enjoy about the iRacing and the sim racing isn't. I have more fun just shooting the crap with the friends that I've made over the service than the actual racing itself. So we're doing a bunch of endurance races, and we usually run the P217 or the P2 in that, and it's just the amount of smack talking just against each other. We're on the same team, and we're just dogging each other the whole time. It's a lot of fun, and that's really what it's about. And it is virtual. You really can't take it too seriously, but it's just been a really overall good experience with the friends that I've made along the way through this. So, as far as my favorite car goes, how I got into the Weekend Warriors is we run another friends league. Me, Chris, Paul, Kenny, a bunch of the guys that we race with. And we picked the Spec Racer Ford because we had ran it like a year before. And we had a bunch of new guys come in that were lower I rating that are still trying to learn the ins and outs of racing. And, we chose the Spec Racer because it drafts so well that you don't have to be top notch to stay with the lead pack in the cars. So we were trying to give some of the slower guys the ability to stay with the front of the pack and everything else. And after running it that last season, I just kind of fell in love with the car because it is so much fun to drive because there's so much you can do to control the vehicle. And so I think I did the Caldwell Park race, which I absolutely love that track. And somebody, I can't remember who it was, I raced against them, and they invited me to the league, and it's just kind of been uphill, downhill, depending on your perspective.
Fell into that hole and just kept going, huh?
It just kept going, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we're glad to have you. That was last season was your first season with us, wasn't it?
I joined the final race at Road Atlanta Short for the final race, and it was kind of funny because I jump into the room and I see these guys like Jason and Felix and the Spec 1 guys, and at the time I had no idea that there was the tier levels.
Okay.
And I'm looking at their times going, what the hell am I doing here? and I didn't realize that after the race had finished, I went back and I watched the broadcast and I was like, why is my name up in green saying first? I was like, wait, what is going on here? And then I found out that there was the different classes and then I kind of had this brief moment of anxiety. I'm like, oh my God, I'm in a different class and I'm battling with these Spec 1 guys on track. I was like, am I screwing up people's point? I was like, I didn't want to mess with anybody's championship. I didn't want to, ruin anybody else's race or anything like that. So it was a lot of fun. And I really do enjoy the challenge of racing against guys like Jason and Felix who on paper, it seems like they're just miles ahead of everybody else. But when you start breaking down the times and you start breaking it down by corner, they're really not that far off. And that's where the challenge of trying to understand and learn how to manipulate the car to get the car to do what it wants to do. So I really do enjoy the rabbit that I'm chasing with these guys, and that's one of the reasons that I had asked Stevie to go ahead and bump me up into Spec 1 next season, just because I didn't want the Spec 1 guys. I'm kind of a little bit faster than some of the Spec 1 guys. I'm a little bit slower than some of the Spec 1 guys, and I don't want to have to worry about the different classes within the race. I just want to go out there and just concentrate on on chasing the people down in front of me.
Mhm. Well, we set it up to maybe help with that a little bit by just, you get points no matter what your position is. So, um, and I've heard that before, but I don't think anybody in our group has any issue with people running like that. And I think they're actually proud when the Spec 2 driver is up mixing it up with the Spec 1 guys. That's just a good thing and shows a lot of capability on you and the other Spec 2s and our old master guys.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm not one of them up front.
You want to talk about mixing it up? You got some pretty fast old guys in that group.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that was fun adding the master's class when we did to kind of highlight that some. So I said I'm a little biased to those guys, but
so we're on the sim racing topic right now, Eric, and I got to do this now that we're talking about the sim racing stuff before we get into the sponsorship stuff here. So we're gonna pull up some pictures here,
definitely,
that Eric sent you, Stevie, and we're gonna start here. That, my friend, is an insane setup that you have, Eric.
This has been a culmination of the past 8 or 9 years in building the rig and upgrading the equipment and saving the pennies and the running joke is, and my wife kind of knows better, but the running joke is, and hi Jennifer, the running joke is, if I were to tragically pass tomorrow, my buddy Kenny's job is to come down and sell this stuff, because if my wife sells it for what I told her I paid for it, somebody is getting a hell of a deal.
Oh man.
So the evolution of the rig, I'd mentioned earlier, I started with a G920 and a play seat and moved up, and Rick Motec had plans for their wooden rig, which I bought and built a wooden rig, and then eventually upgraded to the Track Racer TR160. And the evolution of the wheel and base and the pedals, the G920 to the Fanatec CSL load cells to the V3s, and finally I settled on the Sprints. And the wheelbase was I went from that 920 to the Fanatec 2.5 to AccuForce V2, and then eventually to the Simucube. And if anybody is really thinking about investing in everything, the easiest thing I can say is it really is a buy once, cry once type deal. Save your pennies. I don't think any good sim racer is going to become accustomed to the equipment that they're using. So I'm not saying anybody can't be fast or isn't fast on, like a Logitech G920 setup. It's just that I have found that the consistency, having some of the higher end equipment, it kind of makes a difference in terms of overall lap times at the end of the race. So if you're thinking about buying something, and it really does make a difference, in my opinion. Just save the pennies, hold off on buying the mid-range stuff, save the pennies, and go ahead and get the higher end stuff, and I promise you, you're not going to be disappointed.
You got motion actuators on that thing too.
I got those 2 years ago. Saved some pennies for that, and that was quite an adventure. I had to hire an electrician to come in and run a dedicated breaker to my office / man cave. With the rig, buying the high end stuff, I have this disease, if you will, that a 4070 or a 4080 is more than enough. But if I don't get the best of the best, I start getting the switch. Immediate buyer's remorse. So I just end up saving up and buying the best stuff that I can. And so, you're running a high-end CPU and a high-end GPU, and that's pulling wattage, and the SimiCube base is pulling wattage. And then you got 4 actuators that are pulling a ton of wattage, and then my work computer, and then the server computer. And it just, I was like, I'm going to burn the house down if I don't drop in a dedicated line. So, it was quite an investment. It is a giggle a minute. I do enjoy running it.
Yep.
On the and I hate to say this, but it really doesn't affect any performance in the sim. In fact, there's an argument to be made that it kind of hinders you a little bit, because the feedback that you're getting sometimes is just ever so slightly delayed compared to what you're feeling in your hands. So but it's fun, and that's
Yep.
what this is supposed to be.
Yep. Yeah, that's an awesome looking rig.
That is insane. I mean, this view here is just crazy too. I mean, obviously the base there that you have, did it come with all the lights, or did you put all the lights in?
Yeah, I added the lights, the 1980s retro lights that my wife likes to call it. She wants to know if I'm going to go join a hair metal band once I get done sim racing.
Oh, that is insane, man! Unbelievable setup.
Got a autograph picture of Nicky Hayden on his Repsol RC211V that my buddy Kenny gifted to me. Favorite motorcycle racer of all time, of course, because he's American and from Kentucky.
Yep, there you
go. Just stand-up super. Well, he was a stand-up super nice guy. He unfortunately passed in the strangest of ways. But so yeah, that pretty much kind of completes it. Now we've got a blast from the past here.
Yes.
When I got into iRacing and sim racing, and I was trying to do stuff on the keyboard, and I did some research online, and button boxes, and of course any YouTube video that you pull up for do it yourself is, they make it seem so easy. And so there's all these videos of build your own button box. So I was like, okay, I could build it, or I could go ahead and research it. How much is one going to buy? And at the time they were, $150, $160 for a decent button box. And I was like, well, I'll just do it by myself and I'll build one. Yeah, that'll be fun. So about $200 later, I had my first button box built that looked like it was designed by a 6-year-old with a 50 caliber crayon. And so I just kind of kept at it, and I had a lot of fun building them and designing them, and a buddy of mine was like, they're looking pretty good. You should go ahead and sell them.
Yep.
So I started building them and started selling them, and a lot of what happened and I was doing it mainly through the iRacing flea market on Facebook, and that really kind of propelled my ability to go ahead and purchase the sim gear that I have now, because it was just an ABS plastic junction box, basically an electrical box. And I would drill out the holes and wrap the lids with vinyl, using the 3M carbon vinyl and a bunch of different colored vinyls, and just kind of started this little side gig, and it just kind of exploded. And so that a lot of that went to, the money that I made, I'd buy new parts and then spend some money on sim gear, and the cycle just kept continuing. Until it was about 5 years ago, probably close to the day, I went ahead and sold the business, because I'd gotten the job that I'm at right now, and there was travel involved, and entertaining customers and stuff in the evenings, and I just didn't have time to do it anymore. So, but that was a lot of fun. That was a good experience to have, and learn new things and learn how to program the Pro Micro 3 boards and things like that. And it was enjoyable for me also, being able, because I sold like the button box that you're looking at right there. I think I was selling for $85.
Sure.
And I was still the only thing I didn't charge for was my time.
Right.
Yeah.
So I basically just put 45% on whatever the parts that went into it, and was selling them for anywhere from 80 to $90, and people found the value in that, and I sold a whole bunch of them, and it was nice to kind of be able to give back to the sim racing community with a decent affordable product.
And speaking of giving back to the sim racing community, that's a perfect segue right into your sponsorship and what you've been doing for our Weekend Warriors. So take that and go with it.
So in all of the iRacing leagues that I've been a part of before the Weekend Warriors, many moons ago back, that first league that I had joined, it was called Precision Racing League, and I don't have the time, but I had money to be able to help further the cause and sponsoring for the races and the server time, and they eventually moved on to broadcasting. So I did a lot with that, and I know the time and effort and energy that it goes to run a league, and especially to get one that's broadcasted and things like that. So in my opinion, it's just kind of a good karma way just to give back to the series that you're racing, and just try to be a part of that community, and just try to help out. I really don't have the time or the patience to do what you guys do and set things up and run things and listen to people complain and cry and moan and all that stuff. So I just like to do what I can to help the league out. It has been a very enjoyable league so far, and I'm just happy to be able to help.
Well, I'll tell you, we really appreciate it. Those 4 that you did after the first 2 were sponsored got us halfway, and then Alliance Autosport, the Real World Prep Shop coming in for the last half of the season, just really made the season perfect for the SRF. So can't thank you enough. Cloud Valve, I guess, is who you work for, actually, huh?
So that's who I started with back in January of 2020. And I got to say, that was a hell of a time to change jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially as a frontline salesperson or territory sales manager, with all the uncertainty that hit in 2020 with the pandemic and everything. But it is, and again, I'm not saying this to brown nose or anything, but it has been a really, really good company to work for. It is a privately held company owned by the McWayne family, and they are very generous to us, and they're very good to us. And it has been a really joy to work for the company. And when the sponsorship opportunity came up, when I initially talked to you about it, I got a hold of our marketing department, and I said, listen, I'm giving these guys money anyway. I said, we can either have the Cloud logo up there or not. I was like, do you care? And they're like, no, that would be awesome. So big shout out to them for letting me do that. And it's been a fantastic journey so far.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we behalf of the league, we really appreciate it, and Cloud Valve for jumping on and doing that like that. It means a lot to the community. So
very happy to help.
What you got, Adam?
Stevie, I think this may be the second time since we've done these podcasts, I've got really nothing. Got nothing. I guess, let me think of something. I mean, I've got something, Eric. We can make this podcast 3 hours long if you want me to start talking. But I guess, so when it comes to the sim racing thing, you've been in it for about 10 years. Have you you mentioned that league that you were doing and you guys decided to run the SRFs. Like, have you kind of settled on a type of car or a type of discipline that you like to run, or do you just go out there and try everything out and just run it all?
Yeah. The next season that we're going to do, and I think we're taking a summer break at the moment, but the next season that we're doing, we've already planned for the GT3 cars. And the main reason that we wanted to do that is the guys that run this league with us, that are kind of up and coming in the sim racing world, we run endurance races with them. And so when us kind of old school guys, we're always running like the P2 or the GTP cars, and we kind of realized really quick, it's like, yeah, you don't need to be in that car.
No.
So we wanted to help them out and kind of focus them on the GT3s or the GTD cars, little column A, little column B, and just try to get their level of skill to progress, so that they can understand the dynamics of the car. They can understand that when they do graduate up to the prototype cars, what they should be expecting out of the slower class cars that they're racing up against. So a lot of it is just kind of like these teachable moments for them. And that's one of the things that I really like doing is I, by no stretch of the imagination do I consider myself fast, but I can try to help them get to where I'm at now, and hoping that they can progress past me. So there's that's kind of a funny story, but we've got some young kids in there, as young as 16 and 15, and that's where kind of the funny story comes in. I don't know if I should tell that story or not, but we've got a wide range of I rating, and if you want to go I rating by speed, which I don't necessarily think that's always the case, but we've got guys that are in the 4K, and I'm sitting at 31 something at the moment, and we've got all the way down to 900. So trying to get these guys to be faster and help them develop their skills in the sim is kind of what we're looking to do. And as far as the outside of like the Spec Racer Ford, I love doing the endurance races. And a lot of it is not so much, again, because of the racing, just because of the smack talking that we're doing with each other. There was one season I really got under one of our teammates' skin, because in the inside banner on one of the cars, you could actually paint the inside banner, you're looking at the banner. And I didn't reveal it, and they didn't load the paint until it was the Daytona 24, until the day of the race. And my buddy Chris gets in the car, and he's looking at a banner sign that says "Go faster, effer." and he comes back to me, and he's like, "Dude, I had to look at that crap for 24 hours." At you. So again, it's just about I really don't care where we finish. I mean, winning is fun, but half of endurance racing is just surviving, and the other half is just having a laugh and having a good time. And that's really what I enjoy about this. My wife likes it because it keeps me home. And I like it just because of the bond and the friendship that you develop with these guys over the years.
Oh, by all means, we've commented all the time about our community and how much how I don't even know what the word is, how special our community is, and the friends that are made. And Adam's always talking about making you got to consider them lifelong friends at this point, because you just know they're going to be there.
Right.
And it's and they're all over the world. And how else is that going to happen?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know I could go to England or Italy or anywhere and have a buddy there, a friend that would help me out and show me around a little bit or something if they could. So, I even dropped in on Adam one weekend.
Yeah, you literally dropped in, flew right on into Reno, Nevada, to come see me. So yeah, it's all the camaraderie, right? Like we all have all these friends that we've made, and I've I can say at least that I've been
I'd love
lucky
to,
enough.
Flavio.
Yeah, exactly. Come to Brazil, Flavio says. But I've been lucky enough to be able to meet a lot of these online friends and turn them into real life friends as well, which is pretty cool. I mean, Rob Schwenkler, a guy that you guys don't know, but I've mentioned multiple times. I've met through before we even started iRacing together. But the guy, I met him on Discord when we were running the Formula One game back on the Xbox days, and he ended up being in my wedding. I mean, it's stuff like that. It's crazy how you make friends that turn into actual lifelong friends. Rob helped me start slow motion broadcasting. Rob, did everything that a friend shouldn't have to do. But he did it, and a bond came from that. And bonds come from obviously through slow motion broadcasting and the Weekend Warriors and all that stuff. It's crazy. Eric, we talk about this, how big iRacing is, but how small iRacing is as well. The amount of people that you meet through here that you will probably just run into just because of all of our passion.
One way or another. Yep.
And that is. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Oh, okay. And that's one of the things that I like about the leagues, as opposed to the official races in the series. The official races, you jump in, you don't know who you're racing against most of the time, and it's like they're, you're battling guys like it's their last race on Earth.
Yes.
It's like, dude, take it down a notch.
But
you get into the league races and you start to develop and understand how somebody drives. They start to become predictable, and then you start to build this relationship with these guys that you're racing around. So when mistakes do happen, you're not getting this angry private message of how much of a jerk you are and things like that. It really makes everything a lot more enjoyable than just jumping into a random race and duking it out with somebody.
Right.
And I'm not taking anything away from the officials. I mean, you can still go out and have a good time with it, but I really think that where the bread and butter for iRacing comes into play is these leagues that allow us to do these races. And while every race in a league is important, you have an off race in a league, you can make it up the next the next week or the next few races because your focus is the end game of the season. So do I really need to make this insanely risky pass going into the last corner? Or can I just sit back, collect the points, and both of us finish the race and live to fight another day?
No,
you don't see that in officials.
You don't do that in officials. Everyone's making that insanely risky pass.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's running the leagues becomes not just a race to race, but it really starts to develop your long-term thinking when it comes to actual sim racing itself.
Yeah, it's funny actually. Jason goes, yeah, now it gets personal when you call people an asshole for some stupid action. I am probably the worst offender of calling people assholes and dickheads and all kinds of stuff, but only my friends. I really don't mic up that much, again, in the official races, but when it comes to the friendships that you make through the leagues, oh man, you get at each other sometimes, and it's all for the fun.
And it's all out of love. If you're not calling your friends an asshole, you're doing something wrong.
Exactly.
That's just kind of the way it goes.
You got it.
Yeah. No, all good. And man, I think that's about a wrap on this one, huh?
I think so. I can hear
all the way around from.
If you got a minute, I can't tell you that funny story because it is quite comical. So last year, what I do for the Rolex 24, or maybe it was the year before, I entertain customers. So I basically just go out and buy a bunch of tickets, and whoever wants to come, they can come. And I got some tickets for one of my customers, and he said, hey, my good friend, my stepson, his best friend is huge into motorsports. Do you mind if we can get him a ticket? And I'm like, hell yeah, the more the merrier. And so his stepson's best friend and his dad comes down. And I threw a barbecue at the house, and my buddy Paul and Chris came down, and so I've got customers and a couple 16 and 15-year-olds running around, and I threw them in the sim, and everybody's having a good time. And so the kid starts talking to Paul and starts talking about iRacing, and Paul's like, well, you should come join us. And the kid got all excited, and it was like, okay, that's cool. And I wasn't around for that conversation, and Paul comes up to me and he goes, I hope I didn't mess up. And I was like, well, would you piss off one of my customers? What are we talking about here? And he goes, well, no. He goes, I invited the kid to come join our Thursday league. And I just kind of looked at him. I said, well, let me get this straight. I said, you invited a 15-year-old kid to join a bunch of middle-aged guys
talking about God knows what
on an internet racing game. I was like, the optics of this is not bad at all.
Oh no!
So I'm laughing about it. I knew he had no ill intention and stuff like that. I was like, listen, I'll talk to his dad. I said, make sure everything's okay. And I talked to him, and so we kind of started this PG-13 channel in Discord, so he can come in and kind of get to know everybody. And I gave his dad access to the full channel, because we are just a merry band of morons. And we have some of the darkest humor on the planet. And I'm like, maybe we shouldn't expose the kid to it. And his dad joined the channel, and he's like, nah, kid's fine. He's probably heard worse at school. I'm like, okay. So it was like, yeah, you just asked a 15-year-old to join a bunch of men on internet racing. That's awesome.
Welcome to life, kid.
If you're not having fun, you're not doing it right.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what we're all about. So
I got a baby crying in the
again,
living room here, Stevie. So
yeah, we need to wrap this up. Once
about
again,
time.
Erik, thanks so much for joining us tonight, taking time out of your schedule to do this, and being so generous and supportive of the league. We, like I said, we really appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me and in the league and on the podcast. I do appreciate it, and thank you very much for having me.
Look forward to seeing you continue and with that S2 championship this season, and see what you can do with the S1 next season. So
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, good luck.
All right, thank you guys.
Bye, guys.
Take care. Appreciate your time, Frank. This gentleman has done wonders for sim racing, the real world racers that come into sim racing or go back and forth. Frank's responsible to get some guys out on track. So without further ado, Mr. Frank Swartz, Grass Paddock Motorsports, tell us what you do.
What do we call this thing? The Raycing Line. I'm all out of sync. We got more people to deal with this week than what I'm used to. So thanks to my co-host, Jason, for joining us. Adam's back this week. And as you can see, we got a fourth sitting here. Megan Oversheet is already joining us to help us do some reviews and stuff. So thank you, Megan.
Let's go, Megan.
And help us.
Good
Good evening, Greg.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey, hey, we're just getting ready to review the spec racers, and since we had an announcer in the waiting room, we thought we'd go ahead and bring you in.
Ah, well, thank you very much.
There he is.
Hey, we got him.
Hey, Jason. We got you this time.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for having me.
We won't talk about
Yeah.
the other.
Our special guest for the evening, Mr. Dave Ogburn, and for Dave to introduce you to these two knuckleheads, you got.
Great to see you, Thor. Welcome to the fourth chair and the podcast this week.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It feels surreal, like finally being able to talk to you guys. You know, I've been in this league for like what 2-3 years, and yeah, finally face to face.
Yes, our first guest.
Jeff.
I'm on the spot now, Jeff.
Oh.
So, welcome, Mr. Jeff Jacobson. Again, great to have you here. Thanks for taking some time out to join us. We get to some fun part. That's why you're here, Jerry. This is our guest segment after the reviews. So, thanks for sitting through with us. And
that was fun.
And
Thanks.
Yeah, it's some good racing. So,
Well, first of all, we gotta say thank you to Trenton for taking time to come join us. He's one of the hardest working guys I know, and you can look there in the shop behind him and get an idea of what he does. So as everybody sees, we've got Darren Ganji, and if you didn't know already, he is Mr. Sim Motion, where you can get all your sim rigs and equipment and everything. He's also the sponsor of that league we were just talking about.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Sean Ambrose, we go back forever, back to the very early beginning days of the Weekend Warriors when it was broadcasted on another broadcast, GSRC, I don't mind saying it. Very good to us. And Sean was one of the producers, announcers, always great to talk with.
So, Mr. Edgar Sancinelli, Weekend Warrior, Frito Sport Racing. I don't know what all you do, but great to have you join us tonight, Edgar.
Yes.
I'm not saying shit. Oh, see, I literally. Whatever, I give up.
There you go.
I know you've had a mute from me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, when you
Yeah.
just for the views when Adam and you are there. I mean, it's
Yeah, it's
jeez.
Oh yeah.